There's been unrest at various checkpoints between Ramallah and Jerusalem as Palestinians and Arabs prepare to mark Land Day. Israel's military had already closed off the West Bank in anticipation of any violence. The annual march commemorates the death of 6 Arabs killed by Israeli police during protests over government confiscation of land in northern Israel, now over 30 years ago. Let's find out more from our correspondent Paula at the checkpoint between Ramallah and Jerusalem here, live on the programme. Paula, thousands of troops have been deployed in anticipation of possible violence. For now, though, what is the current situation where you are?
Well, I'm standing here at a very smoky Kalandia checkpoint between Jerusalem and Ramallah. The heavy smell of tear gas is everywhere. For the last hour or so, Palestinians just behind me have been pelting stones at the Israeli border police as well as army troops who have been brought out here. They've been gathering behind me, and every so often you hear another burst of tear gas. The situation on the ground is incredibly tense, and as we move the camera a little bit behind me, you will see the army and the police who have gathered here in anticipation for what many fear could be a day that sees a lot of violence. There are similar scenes unfolding at various checkpoints throughout the West Bank, as well as in key Israeli Arab towns and along the Lebanese, Syrian and Jordan borders. The pictures we're bringing to you now are live from the Golan Heights. Here too you can see thousands of people gathering along the borders. They're gathering here because this really is essentially to mark Land Day. Now, Land Day commemorates back in 1976 when the Palestinians first protested against what they said was the Israeli seizing of Arab land on which it built settlements. And ever since then there is this annual commemoration, which is what we're witnessing today. Now, the Israeli police are on their state of highest alert and they have mobilized throughout the country. But at the same time, we're hearing from the Lebanese army that they too are fearful that there could be a showdown of violence along the borders. Just last year there were dozens of people killed, and nobody wants a repeat of that incident.
Certainly, Paula, as we've been talking to you here now on RT, we've been showing live pictures of many Palestinians on the streets in the Golan Heights area, many in a march waving flags, others lobbing stones as well. We know the Palestinian Authority has urged supporters to hold demonstrations in other countries. Just how far has it spread? I know you've mentioned some regional areas, but can you give us more on that?
Well, we know that demonstrators are gathering in front of Israeli embassies at key European and American cities. And here, too, the Israeli government is on a state of high alert. It follows a call, as you say, from the Palestinian Authority for tens of thousands of people to mark what they're calling a global march to Jerusalem. We're hearing from organizers that they are planning for a non-violent demonstration. We are hearing the figures of some 30,000, if not more, being bandied about. The goal of today is really to bring attention to the plight of the Palestinian people, cause for justice, cause for an end to the occupation and an end for Israeli control over Palestinian land. According to the Israeli Defense Ministry, it has closed off the whole of the West Bank, which means it will be incredibly difficult, if not impossible, today for Palestinians living in the West Bank to move around and to get around. We also know that there is an extensive land caravan that has made its way to the Israeli-Lebanese border, and here we're looking at protesters who've come as far as India, Malaysia, Iran, Indonesia and Tajikistan. So the mood on the ground incredibly tense on both sides of the border. People are fearful that events could descend into chaos, but certainly the Palestinian people hoping that their plight and their struggle will make world headlines.
Well, Paula, as you say, certainly widespread calls here for people to stand up and defend what is the annual event of Land Day. As we've been speaking to you, we're now seeing reports that Israeli forces have opened fire on Palestinians in the West Bank. I know you're between Ramallah and Jerusalem. Do keep us posted and do take care. RT's Paula. Thanks for that.